Clearly, the most responsible for crimes against humanity in the Philippines, in the acts of murder and other inhumane acts, would be none other than President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. That would include some other lower officials, perhaps Senator Bato de la Rosa, who also served as the chief of police during that time.
Are you familiar of the Senate inquiry that was conducted a week ago?
Yes, was it a week ago? I think so. This is the Senate inquiry also on they call it the Philippine War on Illegal Drugs.
And later on, I'm sorry, and a while ago, we also heard the former president reiterated his statement in which he said that I take full legal responsibility on the policy and the implementation of the war on drugs. Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I also heard him say that he would also like to bear the responsibility for the consequences, legal and illegal.
With that statement, matutulungan po ba kayo at yung mga biktima o pamilya ng biktima nitong EJK doon sa kaso sa ICC?
To some extent, Your Honor, yes. Mr. Chair, the admissions before the legislative bodies in the Philippines could serve well in the investigation where they are determining who is most responsible. Ito na nga po, ang tanong nila, sinong may kasalanan, may umaamin. But moving forward into trial, there would be some sort of processes before these statements could be taken as evidence, but it's just a matter of procedure. Pwede pong gamitin ng mga sinabi ni Duterte dito at sa Senado sa pagbubukas po ng trial sa ICC at sa kahit na ano pa man pong korte.
I've seen one of your interviews in the television and yet you are hopeful that before the 2024 ends, a warrant of arrest will be issued by the International Criminal Court. Inaasahan niyo po ba talaga na lumabas bago matapos ang taon ngayon?
Well, yes, Your Honor. But of course, there are processes with the ICC that are out of our control.
Mr. Chair, I just would like to share and inform everyone that earlier today, the Executive Secretary, former Chief Justice Lucas Bersamin, stated that if the former president desires to surrender himself to the jurisdiction of the ICC, the government will neither object to it nor move to block the fulfillment of his desire. Can we ask the reaction or the comment of the lawyers of the victims?
It would be nice to do that, sir, but they do not have any
I think, Mr. Chair, if there's a question with regards to the ICC, the interpretation of the statement of the Executive Secretary is that if the ICC will issue a warrant of arrest and the Interpol is going to execute the warrant of arrest, the Philippine government, the Marcos administration, will not object to it and will allow the serving of the search warrant against President Duterte or whoever is the subject of such search warrant, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I fully agree, Attorney Colmenares. And in fact, that is what is stated in the second paragraph of the statement issued by the Executive Secretary, which I quote, but if the ICC refers the process to Interpol, which may then transmit a red notice to the Philippine authorities, the government will feel obliged to consider the red notice as a request to be honored, in which case the domestic law enforcement agencies shall be bound to accord full cooperation to Interpol pursuant to established protocols. So before I would elicit your comment or reaction, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask the comment of our former President Duterte about this issuance of the Executive Secretary.
I'm happy with the narration of whatever it says there is. Ang problema, walang jurisdiction. Bigyan mo muna ako ng jurisdiction before anything else. Before you move, jurisdiction muna. May jurisdiction ba sila?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask the lawyers from
Yes.
the NUPL, or probably Attorney Jokno can also explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The ICC has jurisdiction. When we signed the Rome Statute, it was stated there, Article 127, that the ICC continues to have jurisdiction even if a country has withdrawn, if the proceedings have been instituted before the effectivity of the withdrawal. So 2017, na-file ang kaso originally, and then 2018, ito namang sa Rise Up Mga Pamilya, effectively March of 2019, ang withdrawal ng Pilipinas. So it has been, it has jurisdiction under Article 127. Bakit nilagay sa ICC yon? Kasi Mr. Chair, pag wala yon sa ICC, ang gagawin na lang ng mga presidente at mga prime minister, pag may kaso sila sa ICC, magwi-withdraw lang sila, wala nang mangyayari. Pero nilagay ng ICC yun na pag nasimulan na ang investigasyon, bago maging effective ang withdrawal mo, the ICC has jurisdiction. The second point, Mr. Chair, is this. Doon sa ICC, mayroong complementarity clause. Ang nakalagay sa ICC complementarity clause is precisely this. If the person is being investigated or prosecuted sa bansa na kung saan siya, then ICC genuinely investigated or prosecuted, then the ICC will not admit the case. Inadmissible siya. Ngayon, ang tanong, may kaso ba o investigasyon o prosecution ang mga akusado sa ICC? Answer, no. So therefore, hindi magti-trigger ang complementarity. And of course, nabanggit kanina, Mr. Chair, may admission mismo si dating Presidente Duterte na ang mga korte natin dito ay ineffective, inefficient. Talagang magagamit po yan, Mr. Chair, sa ICC because the ICC also has a phrase na pag sinabi niya, kahit pa kinasuhan ka sa Pilipinas, pero ito ay inability or unwillingness, ibig sabihin, hindi makadeliver ng accountability, then the ICC continues to have jurisdiction. So the ICC has jurisdiction because of those terms, Mr. Chair. And last point na lang, Mr. Chair. Pag pumirma tayo ng kontrata, we subtract something from our sovereignty. When we signed the protocols with the Interpol, na pag may siniserve kayo dito na warrant of arrest, susundin namin yan, that's part of our giving up a part of our sovereignty doon sa ganyang klase na obligasyon. The same din sa ICC. At hindi maganda, Mr. Chair, na pag sakali hindi i-fulfill ng Philippine government ang pinirmahan niya sa Rome Statute many years ago, ang sabihin ng international community, hindi pala kayo mapagkatiwalaan. Pirma kayo ng pirma ng kontrata, pero pag alanganin na o treaty, pag alanganin na atras kayo. So it is also to the interest of the Philippine government na i-fulfill ang obligasyon sa ICC precisely because we have committed ourselves to do our obligation. So in any case, Mr. Chair, the ICC has jurisdiction, and we are supposedly bound dapat to implement that jurisdiction, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, is it correct to assume that the subject matter of the case before the ICC or the crimes that we are referring to are crimes committed before the withdrawal? Is
Yes,
that correct?
Mr. Chair. That is correct, Mr. Chair.
If I may add, Mr. Chair and Your Honors, that was one of the issues taken up by the pretrial chambers. Ito na po yung court ng International Criminal Court when it granted the request of the prosecutor to conduct a formal investigation. In September 15, 2021, sa isang written decision ng pretrial chamber, they found, number one, that there was reasonable basis to proceed with the investigation, and number two, that the case falls within the court's jurisdiction. Hindi po nila papayagan ang prosecutor na mag-imbestiga sa isang kaso kung wala naman jurisdiction ang ICC. Kung ganun po, dapat matagal na nilang dinismiss ang kaso. It's very clear under the rulings of the ICC as well as the Rome Statute, which is the treaty that the Philippines ratified, that that jurisdiction exists.
Mr. Chair, nais ko rin pong magdagdag. dun sa mga sinabi nila Attorney Nery Colmenares and Attorney Chel Jokno. Bukod po sa Rome Statute itself, bukod po sa pronouncement ng pretrial chamber ng ICC, ang mismong Korte Suprema natin, in the 2021 case of Pangilinan versus Cayetano, I quote from the decision penned by Senior Associate Justice Marvic Leonen. What is the effect of withdrawal? Yun po ang issue na sinagot dun sa ruling na yun. Withdrawing from the Rome Statute does not discharge a state party from the obligations it has incurred. Then the Supreme Court proceeded to say, a state shall not be discharged by reason of its withdrawal from the obligations arising from the statute while it was a party. Its withdrawal shall not affect any cooperation with the court in connection with criminal investigations and proceedings in relation to which the withdrawing state had a duty to cooperate and which were commenced prior to the date on which the withdrawal became effective. So malinaw, kahit nag-withdraw na, dun sa mga alleged crimes against humanity committed within the period of 2016 to 2019, I'm sorry, 2011, may I correct myself, 2011 to 2019. Yung 2011, yun po ang date na rinatify ng Senado yung Rome Statute, na naging officially member state tayo ng Rome Statute. Yung 2019 naman ay yung date na naging effective yung withdrawal. Kasi winidraw po tayo ng dating Pangulong Duterte sa Rome Statute noong March 2018. So 1 year after that, March 2019, naging effective yung withdrawal. Nakasabi, malinaw talaga yan sa Rome Statute, na habang miyembro ka, meron kang obligasyon to cooperate kung ano man yung mga proceedings. So miyembro pa tayo from 2011 to 2019, kaya pwede pa na mag-imbestiga ang ICC. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you for
Your
that.
Honor, may I be given a chance to respond? Marami na masyadong tao ang sasagsalita against me. At least give me also only one person to, my lawyer, to give his piece of the legal issues involved. To be fair,
with the indulgence of the members of the committee, we will allow the lawyer of the former president to speak before the Quad. But Attorney Medjaldea, please be reminded that the time will be limited.
Yes,
So you are given 5 minutes.
This will be very short, sir. Ma'am, we withdrew from the statute in 2018, right? Secretary De Lima?
March 2018, so 1 year after that is the effectivity.
1 year after that. And under that provision, we were given a period of 1 year within which to conduct our investigations, right?
Opo?
This
Mr.
big-
Chairman, just a point of order. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, let me remind the resource person, former Secretary Vildia, you cannot ask question to
I'm
a
sorry.
fellow resource person. If you want to ask question, you course through it to another member of this
sorry.
committee. Please refrain and can you rephrase your point or you can manifest your position?
Under the statute, Mr. Chairman, we had a period of 1 year. The ICC had a period within a period of 1 year to conduct the investigation. The fact is there was no investigation ever conducted, right? Okay, so that's for you to. Second, there was a decision rendered by the ICC in 2021. It was a decision wherein 3 of the justices said that the investigation should proceed, while 2 others dissented.
It's still a decision.
The 2 of those who dissented mentioned that we could no longer proceed with this because there is no longer any jurisdiction on the part of ICC. They were outvoted. But did the 3 however, the 3 did not take note of the jurisdiction, did not issue on the issue of jurisdiction. I think we should review the decision on that, sir. I think there is a misrepresentation. There was no mention about any jurisdiction.
If they had no jurisdiction, how could they rule?
They had no jurisdiction, Mr. Chairman.
How could they rule then?
Mr. Chair?
Okay, we don't want this to become a debate among the resource persons. There was a question raised by Congressman.
Sir, can I just be, hindi ko lang maano because unang-una ho, nagkaroon ng desisyon ang ICC 3 and 2, okay? 2 dissented, saying that we no longer have any jurisdiction over this case. The 3 others rendered the decision saying that the investigation should proceed, but never touched on the issue of jurisdiction. So up to this point in time, Mr. Chairman, we submit that there is still no jurisdiction which has been ruled upon by the ICC. That's why up to now, they cannot even move here.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman,
Thank you, Attorney Mejaldea. Does that satisfy Congressman Bungalon?
Yes, I would like to thank our resource persons for giving us the explanation on the issue of jurisdiction. And anyway, Mr. Chair, to end the discussion on the jurisdiction, probably we can just ask one explanation from the lawyers and one explanation from the counsel of former President Duterte, and then I'll shift to another issue, Mr. Chair, just to settle everything about jurisdiction. Anyway, what is clear right now is that there is an ongoing investigation with the ICC, and we cannot settle that issue here in the Quadcom hearing, Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
That is correct.